The most dangerous person in your life is staring back at you in the mirror every morning. That person has mastered the art of self-sabotage, perfected the skill of playing it safe, and become an expert at making excuses sound like wisdom. That person has convinced you that someday is a real day on the calendar, and that almost ready is a valid stage of preparation. That the person isn't telling. Every day you wait is a day someone else is taking action. Every moment you spend preparing is a moment someone else is progressing. While you're crafting the perfect plan, others are creating imperfect progress. They're not smarter than you. They're not more talented than you. They just think differently than you. A young eagle sat perched on the edge of its nest, wings spread wide, heart pounding against its tiny chest. For weeks, it had watched other eagles soar through the endless sky, riding invisible currents with effortless grace. But this eagle was different. This eagle was afraid. You see, every fiber of its being knew it was born to fly. The wind whispered it. The mountains echoed it. The very air around the nest crackled with possibility. Yet there it remained, paralyzed by the comfort of the familiar, the safety of the known. My friends, how many of us are that eagle right now? How many of us can feel greatness stirring in our souls, yet choose to remain in our comfortable nests? The truth that brings me here today is both simple and profound. But more than that, leaders see differently, act differently, and ultimately, the good difference between where you are and where you could be is not a matter of capability. It's a matter of mindset. The eagle doesn't need to learn how to fly. It was born everything it needs. What it must learn is to trust its design, to embrace its purpose, to step into its destiny. Let me tell you something that might shake. Your comfort zone is not a place to live. It's a place to visit occasionally. But many of us have turned it into a permanent residence. We've decorated it with excuses, furnished it with justifications, and reinforced its walls with fear. Think about the device in your pocket right now. That smartphone you carry everywhere. When it was first created, it had a specific purpose, a design, a reason for existence. If that phone could think and feel and one day decided, you know what? I don't want to be a phone anymore. I think I'll be a microwave instead. We'd call that dysfunction. Yet, how many of us are living in dysfunction, refusing to embrace our true purpose? Leadership isn't a position you attain. It's a decision you make every single day. It's choosing to see what others miss, to do what others won't, to push when others rest. But here's the part that might surprise you. This isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday. You see, every morning when you wake up, you make a choice. Most people choose to live by default, letting circumstances shape their decisions, letting other people's expectations define their boundaries. Leaders choose to live by design. They understand that life is not happening to them. Have you ever noticed how a lion doesn't wake up in the morning wondering if it's good enough to be a lion? It doesn't attend lion motivation seminars or read books on how to increase its roar effectiveness. But the lion simply embraces its nature and lives it out fully. Yet here we are, the crown of creation, doubting our potential, questioning our worth, negotiating with our destiny. Let me share something powerful with you. The difference between success and failure often isn't in what you do. It's in what you believe about what you do. Two people can take the same action but get completely different results. Why? Because one person is simply going through the motions, while the other is expressing their purpose. To say that, when was the last time you made a decision that scared you? When was the last time you chose growth over comfort? When was the last time you looked at your life and asked not, what do I want to have, but who do I need to become? You see, leadership thinking isn't about accumulating more information. We're drowning in information. Leadership thinking is about transformation. It's about taking what you know and allowing it to change who you are. Knowledge without application is merely entertainment. But knowledge with application becomes power. Your leader throughout history understood one fundamental truth. The world doesn't change until you change. Your life doesn't improve until you improve. Your circumstances don't shift until your mindset shifts. But here's where many get it wrong. They're waiting for permission to lead. They're waiting for someone to tap them on the shoulder and say, okay, now it's your turn. That moment never comes. Leadership is not given. It's not granted. It's taken. Now think about water for a moment. When water reaches 211 degrees Fahrenheit, it's hot, very hot. But at 212 degrees, something remarkable happens. It boils, and with that boiling comes steam. And with that steam comes power. 1 degree makes the difference between hot water and power. Many of you are living at 211 degrees. You're doing well. You're comfortable. You're getting by. But leadership thinking requires that extra degree. It requires pushing past good enough to extraordinary. It demands moving beyond what is to what could be. Right now, in this very moment, someone in this room is sitting on an idea that could transform their industry. Someone here has a solution that could solve a pressing problem. Someone here has a gift that could inspire thousands. So they're waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for all the lights to turn green, waiting for absolute certainty. If you wait for all the lights to turn green before you leave your house, you'll never leave your driveway. Leadership thinking understands that you don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You just need to see enough to take the next step. There's something that might make you uncomfortable. In fact, potential is the heaviest burden a person can carry. Why? Because potential without expression becomes pain. Unreleased ability becomes inner agony. You know what keeps most people awake at night? It's not what they've done. It's what they know they could have done but didn't. It's the gap between who they are and who they know they could be. That gap is what leaders refuse to tolerate. Leadership thinking begins with a fundamental shift in how you view problems. While others see obstacles, leaders see opportunities disguised as impossibilities. When everyone else is asking, why not? When others say it can be done, leaders ask, what if it could? Choose that transform my understanding of leadership. Everything you see around you, every building, every device, every organization was once impossible. It was impossible until someone decided to think differently about what was possible. The chair you're sitting in right now was once just a thought in someone's mind. The lights illuminating this room were once just an idea. The clothes you're wearing were once just a concept. Everything that exists in our world today was first conceived in someone's imagination. Leaders understand this creative power of thought. Most people confuse activity with productivity. They confuse motion with progress. They're working hard, but they're working hard at the wrong things. Leadership thinking requires asking better questions. Instead of asking, what should I do? Leaders ask, what should I stop doing? You see, success leaves clues. When you study successful leaders, you'll notice they're not necessarily doing more things. They're doing the right things. They've mastered the art of strategic abandonment. Now, they understand that what got them here won't get them there. If everything you believe about success is wrong, what if the very things you think are helping you are actually holding you back? What if your strength has become your weakness? Consider the same walls that protect you also imprison you. The same habits that once have served you might now be sabotaging you. The same thinking that got you to this level might be precisely what's preventing you from reaching the next level. Leadership thinking demands constant evolution. It requires the courage to unlearn what you know to learn what you need to know. It's not just about adding new information. It's about being willing to challenge your most cherished assumptions. It's a powerful truth. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is in your daily routine. Show me your daily habits, and I'll show you the future. Leaders understand that excellence is not an act, but a habit. It's not what you do occasionally that shapes your life. Let's go deeper. Many people want the crown without the cross. They want the glory without the story. They want the blessing without the pressing. Leadership thinking understands that everything valuable comes with a price tag. Just the question isn't, can I afford it? The question is, am I willing to pay the price? Your life right now is perfectly designed to produce the results you're getting. If you want different results, you need different thinking. If you want to change your life, you must first change your mind. The quality of your life is directly proportional to the quality of your thoughts. Think about this. Every thought you think is either moving you toward your destiny or away from it. Every decision you make is either expanding your possibilities or limiting them. Every action you take is either strengthening your leadership or weakening it. It separates leaders from followers. Leaders understand that life is not a dress rehearsal. We don't get a practice life to prepare for the real one. This is it. Right now. This moment. Leaders live with a sense of urgency, not because they're afraid, but because they're aware. Put you something that might make you scream in your seats. What would you do differently if you knew you couldn't fail? What dreams would you pursue? What risk would you take? Now, here's the real questions. Why aren't you doing those things anyway? Their failure isn't what holds most people back. It's fear of success. Because success comes with responsibility. Success demands more from you. Leaders understand that success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Consider the butterfly. The struggle to emerge from its cocoon is precisely what makes it strong enough to fly. If you help a butterfly by breaking open its cocoon, you actually condemn it to death. The resistance is essential to its transformation. People think embraces the streets. The obstacle is the way. The resistance you face isn't trying to stop you. It's trying to strengthen you. The problems you encounter aren't trying to break you. They're waiting to feel ready. They're waiting to feel confident. They're waiting to feel certain. Leaders understand that action precedes feeling. You don't feel your way into right acting. You act your way into right feeling. Let me share something profound. The world doesn't pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you do with what you know. Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. Leaders don't just know the way. They go the way and show the way. You know what fascinates me about bamboo? For the first 4 years after planting, you see nothing above ground. Nothing. Just dirt. But during those 4 years, the bamboo is developing an elaborate root system underground. And in the 5th year, the bamboo shoots up 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Questions. Did the bamboo grow 90 feet in 6 weeks, or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? Leaders understand that success is rarely linear. What looks like sudden success to the world is often the result of years of invisible growth. How many of us have given up in year 1, year 2, or year 3? How many dreams have been abandoned because we couldn't see immediate results? Leadership thinking requires patience with the process while staying impatient with the results. Let me tell you something that might challenge everything you believe about leadership. The greatest enemy of future success is not failure. It's success. Why? Because success has a tendency to make us comfortable, and comfort is the enemy of growth. Think about this. Every level of success you achieve creates a new set of problems. These problems aren't obstacles, they're opportunities. They're not barriers to success. They are the price of success. Leaders don't pray for easier problems. They pray for greater capacity. Here's the truth that might shake you. Your life is perfectly designed to produce the results you're currently getting. If you don't like the results, you need to change the design. But most people spend their lives dealing with effects while ignoring causes. They treat symptoms while the disease remains untouched. Time goes to the root. It asks fundamental questions. Why am I getting these results? What beliefs are driving my behaviors? What thoughts are creating my realism? Because here's the thing, you can't solve a problem with the same thinking that created it. There's something powerful. Everything in your life right now is either an asset or a liability. Every relationship, every habit, every thought pattern, it's either taking you toward your destiny or away from it. Leaders regularly audit their lives, ruthlessly eliminating what doesn't serve their purpose. They're measuring in tech stuff. They're minor things. They're spending major time on minor activities. They're investing major energy in minor relationships. Leadership thinking understands that not everything that matters counts, and not everything that counts matters. This crime is the great equalizer. We all get 24 hours in a day. No more, no less. The difference lies in how we think about those hours. While others see time as something to spend, leaders see it as something to invest. While others kill time, leaders make time work for them. There's a paradigm shift for you. Stop managing your time and start managing your energy. Because you can have all the time in the world, but without energy, that time is worthless. Leaders understand that energy, not time, is the fundamental currency of productivity. But let's go deeper. Many people are living lives of quiet desperation because they're trying to be who they're not. They're trying to fit into someone else's definition of success. Leadership thinking begins with this fundamental truth. You cannot be authentic living someone else's life. Your fingerprints are unique. Your DNA is unique. Your purpose is unique. So what are you trying to copy someone else's path to success? Leaders understand that imitation might be the sincerest form of flattery, but it's the surest way to mediocrity. What are the very things that make you different are the things that make you valuable? What if your perceived weaknesses are actually your greatest strengths in disguise? What if your struggles are actually preparing you for your destiny? It's something that might make you uncomfortable. Everything you want is on the other side of what you're avoiding. Every breakthrough every new level of success requires a new level of surrender. Surrender to growth. Surrender to change. Surrender to transformation. Leadership thinking understands paradox. To get what you've never had. To become who you've never been. You must think how you've never thought. Comfort and growth cannot coexist. You must choose one or the other. Think about water again. Water can exist in 3 states: solid, liquid, and gas. But to move from one state to another, it must go through a phase transition. It must experience disruption. Leaders understand that all growth requires disruption. All transformation requires transition. But transition is where most people quit. They start the journey, but stop at the first sign of discomfort. They begin the transformation, but retreat at the first taste of uncertainty. Leaders understand that the middle is messy, but it's also where the magic happens. What would your life look like if you removed all excuses? What could you achieve if you stopped blaming circumstances? Stop pointing fingers. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Because here's the truth. Leaders don't make excuses, they make adjustments. This it does. Every excuse you make becomes a brick in the wall between you and your potential. Every justification you create becomes a barrier between you and your destiny. Leaders understand that responsibility is not about blaming. It's about responsibility, the ability to choose your response. But here's where it gets real. Many people want microwave success in a crockpot world. They want overnight results in a process that requires time. Leadership thinking understands that there are no shortcuts to any place worth going. The process is not just part of the journey. The process is the journey. Have you ever watched a master sculptor at work? They look at a block of marble and see what others can't see. While everyone else sees a chunk of stone, they see the masterpiece waiting to be released. But here's the key. They don't add to the marble. They remove everything that's not the statue. Leadership thinking works the same way. It's not about adding more to your life. It's about removing everything that's not aligned with your purpose. It's about chipping away at the non-essentials until the essential remains. But most people do the opposite. They keep adding, wondering why they feel overwhelmed and unfulfilled. Your greatest contribution to the world may not be something you do, but someone you raise, someone you mentor, someone you inspire. Leaders understand that their legacy isn't measured by what they achieve, but by what they set in motion. Think about this. Every great achievement in human history started with a thought. A simple thought that refused to die. A thought that kept someone awake at night. A thought that wouldn't let them settle for the status quo. Leadership thinking understands that thoughts become things, but only if you give them enough time, energy, and action. But here's where it gets interesting. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade. They want instant results in a world that rewards consistent effort. Leaders understand that the seeds you plant today become the forests of the ocean for a moment. On the surface, it can be chaotic. Waves crashing, winds howling. But deep beneath the surface, there's calm, there's clarity, there's consistency. Leadership thinking is like that. Where others are tossed about by every wind of circumstance, leaders maintain a deep inner clarity about who they are and where they're going. Here's something that might challenge you. Everything you do is either an investment in your future or a cost to your future. Every decision, every action, every thought, it's either taking you closer to your destiny or further from it. Leaders understand that life is constantly moving. There's no standing still. Let me ask you this. What would you attempt if you knew your impact would outlive you? What dreams would you pursue if you knew they would benefit generations to come? Because here's the truth. Leadership thinking extends beyond your own life. It considers the ripple effects of today's decisions on tomorrow's possibilities. But let's go deeper. Many people are living far below their potential because they're thinking far below their potential. They've allowed their circumstances to shape their thinking instead of allowing their thinking to shape their circumstances. Leadership thinking understands that your life moves in the direction of your strongest thoughts. Consider the great leader in history faced opposition. Every visionary was first called crazy. Every innovator was told it couldn't be done. But they persisted because they understood something fundamental. The majority is not always right. The crowd is not always wise. Leadership thinking often requires standing alone while others stand together. These are truths that might shake you. Your life is speaking to you right now. Your results are giving you feedback. Your circumstances are showing you the consequences of your king. But most people don't want to listen. They want to change their results without changing their thinking. Leadership thinking demands radical honesty. It requires looking in the mirror and acknowledging what you see. Not what you want to see. Not what you hope to see. But what's actually there. Because you can't change what you won't acknowledge and you can't transform what you won't confront. You have something powerful. The size of your impact is directly proportional to the size of your thinking. Small thinking creates small results. Average thinking creates average results. But leadership thinking, big thinking, expansive thinking, transformative thinking, the bigger your vision, the more resistance you'll face. The greater your purpose, the greater the opposition. The higher you aim, the more critics you'll attract. Leaders understand that criticism is the tax paid for being different and opposition is the price of progress. Every problem you face is a test of your thinking. Every challenge you encounter is an opportunity to elevate your thinking. Every obstacle in your path is asking you one question. Are you willing to think differently to get different results? To see that butterfly again. In the cocoon, it must completely dissolve before it can transform. It must let go of what it was to become what it's meant to be. Leadership thinking requires similar courage. The courage to let go of the old, to embrace the new. The courage to die to the familiar, to be born into the extraordinary. These were many miss. They want the transformation without the dissolution. They want the breakthrough without the breakdown. They want the victory without the battle. Leadership thinking understands that every level of growth requires a death to something. Death to old thinking, death to old habits, death to old identities. But the very thing you're holding on to is the thing holding you back. What if your current thinking is your greatest limitation? What if your comfort zone has become your danger zone? Because here's the truth. What got you here won't get you there. Yesterday's thinking cannot solve tomorrow's challenges. Remember that eagle we talked about at the beginning? The one perched on the edge of its nest, afraid to fly. That eagle is still there, and the wind is still calling. But now it understands something profound. The very thing it fears is the thing that will set it free. The emptiness before it isn't a void to be feared, but a canvas waiting to be painted with the colors of its courage. You see, leadership thinking isn't just about making better decisions or achieving more success. It's about becoming who you were meant to be. It's about answering the call that keeps you awake at night. It's about honoring the gifts you were given by using them to their fullest potential. But more than that, it's about creating a legacy that outlives you, impact that outlasts you, and influence that outgrows you. The world is waiting for your unique contribution. It's waiting for your leadership. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not when you feel ready. Now, because leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to ask better questions. It's not about knowing the way. It's about being willing to go first. It's about understanding that your greatest moments of impact often come from your deepest moments of doubt. Think differently about your challenges. They're not obstacles, they're opportunities. Think differently about your failures. They're not final, they're feedback. Think differently about your potential. It's not a destination, it's a direction. Every setback, every disappointment, every moment of doubt is simply life. How badly do you want it? The greatest tragedy in life isn't death. It's living with untapped potential. It's carrying your music to the grave unsung. It's holding your gifts so tight that they never get the chance to bless others. It's allowing fear of judgment to silence your voice. Fear of failure to clip your wings. Fear of the unknown to chain you to the familiar. Leadership thinking understands. That comfort is the enemy of greatness. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you sacrifice a piece of your potential. Every time you choose the familiar over the unknown, you trade your destiny for security. Every time you choose to remain silent, when you should speak still, when you should move, hidden when you should shine. You're not just failing yourself. You're failing those who need what only you can give. What are you waiting for? The nest will never feel comfortable enough. The timing will never feel perfect enough. The circumstances will never feel right enough. The world needs your voice now. It needs your vision now. It needs your leadership now. Because here's what I know with absolute certainty. The wind that you fear is the same wind that will lift you. The unknown that frightens you is the same unknown that will free you. The leap that terrifies you is the same leap that will transform you. Your doubts, your fears, your uncertainties, they're not signs that you're going the wrong way. They're signs that you're finally heading in the right direction. Just think differently because they understand the fundamental truth. You were born an original, don't die a copy. Think differently. Lead differently, live differently, yide differently. That wind is still blowing. Those wings are still ready. That big flight, your leadership journey begins now.